For your next piece of work, we need to look at the techniques used in project management of a site. Now, remember, your work should relate to the work you're doing on your passive house. So in this video, we're going to look at Gantt charts, lines of balance, timesheets, site inspection and site visits. We're going to look at hierarchy of communication, and we'll also briefly look at the different styles of management we can use. So a Gantt chart is an essential tool now for project management, especially now that we can work online with them. The Gantt charts allow us to get the tasks in the correct order. They make sure dependent tasks don't overlap. We can set the duration of each task. We can manage and control staff, materials, and resources. And we monitor the progress of the overall site, giving us a clear idea of when end dates happen. And with more modern online versions, we can actually link tasks to things like the staff who are going to do that, so we can make sure a member of staff hasn't been deployed in 2 different places at once. We can link to materials, so we know when those materials were delivered. We can link to resources, so those are things like scaffolding, bulldozers, diggers, and make sure they're turning up at the right time. Lines of balance are a way of calculating the overall time of a project and also what the limiting factors would be on that project. They're used in things like road building or large projects such as apartment blocks or office blocks. They're used where we use the same process over and over again. So for example, each floor of an office block might be the same set of construction going on. Now in this example, if we considered road building, it might be that the excavator can dig out 5 miles of road in 2 months. However, the grading can go much, much faster and can do 5 miles of road in, say, just a month. That means that we can delay the grading of the road by about 6 weeks and they'll still finish at the same time, meaning we can be much more efficient with how we deploy our equipment. Now, these aren't really any good on something like a one-off house build or something like that. They're only useful where we've got the same task happening over and over again, such as a road, an apartment block, or a tower block. Timesheets are a way we can track on our workforces on site and when they leave site. They're very simple and an effective way of keeping track of the hours put into a project. However, what they don't do is keep a track of how hard someone's working or the amount of work they produced on that day. For that, we still need effective project management on site, checking what's going on. Rather than paper timesheets, most sites now employ a system where you have fingerprint entry to the site, and this will electronically record when you arrived and when you left. Site inspection is a way that the design team or the client can check on the progress of the build. They can also check that the quality is up to the standard they're expecting as well. It's a simple way of being able to feed back to the project manager. Any problems they encounter on site hopefully can be resolved there and then to save lengthy emailing. A hierarchy of communication refers to who is going to talk to who across both the site team and the design team. It doesn't mean people won't be friendly and won't talk to each other. What it means is we need effective communication. So for example, we might have a head of a design team and a head of a site team. Both of those will feed into client to give them updates, but the client won't want to get an update from the subcontractors on site. This information from the subcontractors will come via the site manager through the design team up to the client or across to the design team. Management styles refers to the way in which we motivate staff to work. Now, there's 2 basic principles here. You either motivate people by reward or you motivate people by punishment if they don't work. The former, motivation by rewards, generally the best, but in some cases we'll need to refer to the stick. This is something you're going to look a lot more at later on. So in summary, you're writing me a piece of work that looks at the techniques used to manage a project. Remember, these included Gantt charts, lines of balance for those larger projects or projects where there's something repetitive going on, ways of managing staff such as timesheets to track the hours they've worked, Ways of monitoring the quality of the site, the quality of the build going on. So looking at site inspection, that might be the architect coming round or the client coming round. How and who communicates to who, hierarchy of communication. Later on in the next piece of work, we need to look at how we communicate across the different areas of project management. And then finally, we touch very briefly on management styles. Again, we'll come back to this in a lot more depth in the next piece of work.